Good evening, this is the Oscar Expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time for updated Oscar predictions for December. We're a long way into the season, only one more prediction video left, the final predictions. Before we get into this video, I want to say, did you know that in other countries, they have completely different streaming libraries on places like Netflix and Hulu and any of your favorite streaming? They have different movies available and different shows.
Well, it'd be nice to be able to access that.
You can't access any of it.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's really sad. Actually, there's something you can do about that. It's called Surfshark VPN. And if you use our discount code, you can get 85% off and 3 months free, unlimited devices. Cancel anytime within the first 30 days.
And the nice thing about it is that they're nice to you because they pay you money to do what you like to do.
I'm not getting paid to do this. This is just out of the kindness of my heart. So click the link in the description below and you can get Surfshark too and be cool like me who has Surfshark and do all the great things I do on it.
We've had a lot of shit happen. We got the Golden Globes nominations, the Critics' Choice nominations. The critics groups are pretty much done. We know where everything's looking. We know even what the frontrunner appears to be. And that movie is Everything Ever All at Once. And why are people saying that this could now win? You know, skeptics. Well, The Fabelmans hasn't exactly performed that well. It's kind of reminiscent of something like, you know, a Belfast or a Star is Born or a Dunkirk. And I'm not saying it's definitely that. I still think The Fabelmans has a better chance than those films did at this point. But it's not taken a whole lot of awards.
And you know what? It always seemed like it would be that. And people said, no, The Fabelmans is different. It's just going to be an easy win. And it's like, okay, but like, is it going to be an easy win? Or because a lot of shit's happened in the last few years. And for people to have just insisted that The Fabelmans will easily just waltz into the Oscar win. And it always felt like, you know, like you said, like Belfast, Star is Born. We've seen these like early TIFF frontrunners die down.
I do think it's stronger than those though, and The Fabelmans isn't doing bad. Like, let's not pretend here. This thing got the second most Critics' Choice nominations. It got Paul Dano and Judd Hirsch nominated Critics' Choice. It did not get either of them nominated at Golden Globes, however, but it hasn't really missed in big categories like except that it missed editing and costumes at Critics' Choice.
People think that no one getting in supporting actor at the Globes is a huge deal. Like, I don't know if that matters that much to me.
Well, it literally happened with Spotlight.
Yeah.
That literally happened.
Yeah. And Spotlight got 3 Golden Globe nominations. And so, you know, the other thing is looking at the total nomination tally, like, it's not always the thing that you have to do. Look at Coda last year. Like, even going off of critics' wins right now, like, technically it might not even matter, but sometimes, you know, it kind of does. And Everything Everywhere right now has won more than half the critics groups. It is dominating. The Fabelmans hasn't won anything. Banshees has won some. Tar won 2. And Top Gun won like NBR.
I'm actually shocked at the sweep that Everything Ever is having at critics circles because I felt like Tar was winning most of the awards.
People who were skeptical earlier of the movie are now coming around to that Everything Everywhere is easily in it to win it.
Right.
And it's #1 on Gold Derby now.
Right.
Okay, the switch happened.
Especially when it got 14 Critics' Choice nominations. Nobody thought it would do this well. It did extremely well. It got like production design, makeup, got 4 actors in. It also performed better than some people thought it would at the Globes. It got a director nomination at the Globes and a supporting actress nomination for Jamie Lee Curtis. The director nomination at the Golden Globes, people took that very seriously, I thought. Like, people actually took stock in that. They said, oh my god, that's a top movie. So we've said that The Fabelmans isn't exactly underperforming. It's doing quite well. But why doesn't it seem like it could win? Why am I like really skeptical that The Fabelmans is going to win? What is it going to win at the Oscars, okay? If you think The Fabelmans is winning, at this point you have Banshees and Everything Everywhere in screenplay. And I get if you don't think Everything Everywhere is winning Best Picture, okay, Banshees wins Best Screenplay. Like, there's just no way for me that The Fabelmans wins Best Screenplay. I mean, I guess like Coda beat Power of the Dog, so maybe there's a little bit of a chance. But it seems weak at this point. So you're going to say, okay, well, then it gets director and picture, and that's it. Because like, some people are saying score. I don't fucking think so. I do not fucking think so. Go watch Babylon and then tell me it's gonna win score. Seriously, like, there's 20 minutes of music in The Fabelmans. There's like an hour and 20 minutes in Babylon, and Babylon is just like jamming out in your head like the next week after you watch the movie.
You can't tell me Michelle Williams is going to win. You can't make an argument that it's winning cinematography. The only awards The Fabelmans can win at this point, unless it does so well that it has to win screenplay, which I don't see. Because again, Banshees in screenplay That's freaking strong.
There's two really strong ones.
Yeah. So what are you going to win director picture? Come on.
So you have to win director, right? Does Spielberg appear to be who is winning director? Like, usually at this point, the front-running film will win director awards. Jane Campion swept. Chloe Zhao swept.
And Spielberg isn't winning jack shit. He won MBR, that's it. Daniels have been sweeping director. We've always known that Everything Everywhere could win screenplay and supporting actor. And that's why we thought it was winning like a while ago, is because we said, look at what this movie can win. And now, I think Everything Everywhere could win more than that. It could win actress, it could win editing, it could win director. Like, it could win up to 6 Oscars. I don't think it's gonna win 6 because that's insane in today's climate. Movies don't usually sweep like that. What else could win a lot of Oscars? The Banshees of Inisherin could win a lot of Oscars. The Banshees of Inisherin could max out at 4 Academy Awards. Best Supporting Actress, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, and Best Picture. It could win those on its best day.
Yeah.
Banshees is doing very well. Banshees got 8 Golden Globe nominations. No movie did that since Cold Mountain in 2003. And yeah, we're talking about critics for the most part here.
I think it has appeal in that it's very funny, and I think anyone can appreciate the movie. But we also showed this to our mom. And Mother did not like it because it was too fucking sad and bleak and depressing. And I actually think that sentiment will be held by a sizable amount of people. Now, they can maybe say Banshees is really well crafted, but like, do they want to vote for it for Best Picture? Does the movie make you feel good? Not really. Not fucking really. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. I don't think it has that, like, quality. That doesn't have the feel-good quality.
Why is it important to have a feel-good quality? Well, ask Roma and Power of the Dog if that's important.
Yeah, I think that it's more like that.
Yeah, it's going to get a lot of nominations. It's going to do really well everywhere. But at the end of the day, like, it's not even quite breaking 80 with audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. It's strong on IMDb, though. When we're looking at what movies can win, and you're trying to picture the Best Picture package, that's why I have Everything Everywhere and Banshees at 1 and 2. Fabelman's winning just director picture and not even looking very strong in either. I can't put that in the top 2.
The other thing about director for Fabelman's is it doesn't feel like the typical film that takes director without taking Best Picture. Is it really like a strong directing achievement? Like, it's a good Spielberg movie. It's not his best work.
But it's the Spielberg narrative.
Yeah, I don't know what Spielberg's narrative... I don't understand that. What is Spielberg's narrative exactly? That he's already won 2 Academy Awards?
And it's just not the narrative that usually works in any given year.
I will say, though, it's still... I think the Fabelman still doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
It's not... I don't think it's as good, though. I don't think you can look at the stuff that's going on and say that it looks better than Everything Everywhere All at Once. I do think that there's a world where, because Everything Everywhere All at Once is now like the front runner, it has been sweeping, it could backfire a little bit and people are looking for that alternative, and then maybe the PGAs suggest the Fabelmans as the alternative. Maybe there's a small smidge of a chance it could win SAG Ensemble. And it's also like a film that ticks all the boxes and makes you feel really good. My mom would probably vote for this movie over Everything Everywhere All at Once. Coda was absolutely a mom movie. I don't think it's impossible that, like, okay, this is gonna win Golden Globe drama. That's pretty good, unless Top Gun Maverick wins that.
I would say Golden Globe drama and PGA could go for Top Gun or Avatar.
Avatar?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
think so.
I like Avatar, but it was the visuals, not the story.
People are pretty into it. The way I see this going is, I thought maybe Banshees could win Critics' Choice. With the 14 nominations, and also no movie has won a Critics' Choice Award without getting the Critics' Choice Award nomination for editing. Banshees and Fabelmans missed. Everything Everywhere is walking into the Critics' Choice Award win. I think it will win SAG Ensemble. I think it will win WGA because Martin McDonagh's not there.
SAG Ensemble's looking really good with Jamie Lee Curtis being in the conversation. Like, holy shit.
The movie might get 4 acting nominations.
Yeah.
If it wins SAG Ensemble, I don't care what else happens. If I'm being honest, I think it will win Best Picture as long as it has SAG Ensemble.
And it'll be far out front as the movie that everyone's predicting too, if that happens.
Banshees could win BAFTA, and it could be Everything Everywhere at the Golden Globes. It could do that, and I might care and I might not. PGA maybe goes Everything Everywhere, maybe goes somewhere weird. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking SAG Ensemble matters, and you'll have the Fabelmans competing against it there as well.
Fabelmans will also compete for WGA.
That's correct.
So those two races, are going to really determine whether people perceive it as the front runner or whether Fabelmans still has a chance. Because if Everything Everywhere wins WGA and SAG, pack it the fuck in. Pack it in. But if it loses those awards, or if Fabelmans takes those, especially if Fabelmans takes those, then you need to watch out for the Fabelmans might actually win. But I still think it looks more likely that Everything Everywhere would win those awards.
I feel pretty vindicated that we've been having Everything Everywhere on our number one for basically the whole year, and now we're at a point where it's actually like considered the front runner.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think it's number one on Gold Derby. Is it
on
not?
Gold Derby, it is the front runner. Are we being blinded by critics groups and like, oh wait, you have to wait to see what the industry does? But it's like the industry is usually not that out of touch with like the Critics' Choice and Golden Globes if they're gung ho on something. I get like this like old, the old voters won't like it. It's like, bro, where has that seemed to affect the movie thus far? Critics groups aren't necessarily like all young people or anything like that. The fact that this movie can win up to 6 awards, it's in contention to win 6 awards. Okay, I'm predicting it at number 1. It's easy at this point.
I think, maybe if there was like that film that everybody can switch to and get behind if they're not the number one fan of Everything Everywhere. Because I can see people being annoyed and being like, Jesus Christ, like what are people doing about this movie? And like, is there anything else I can put my vote behind that might actually have a chance of winning? And they're looking for that. And the thing is that I don't think it's very clear what that is. Fabelmans has to start winning some stuff for that to happen. How steamy is the passion for that movie? It doesn't seem like it's that much.
People will go about, oh, you need number 2s and 3s on the preferential ballot. And it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, number 1s are still the best. It's still really important to have it at number 1.
Yeah.
And we know which movie's going to get, like, probably the most number 1 votes, if we're being honest.
Like, I think an older voter might go for the Fabelmans, but they also might really like Top Gun Maverick, and they also might really like Banshees of Inisherin. And also, of course, this is now the time where we can start thinking about narrative. Fabelmans, I could see a lot of people, even if they like it, like me, I really like it. I saw it twice and I changed my opinion on it. I'm less negative about that movie now. But I wouldn't feel a strong urge to vote for it because it doesn't feel like it represents too much. It feels like a movie that we've seen the Oscars honor before. And the story of like Steven Spielberg's childhood is interesting and it's fun to watch, but I don't think it feels that essential.
The Fabelmans narrative is just Steven Spielberg. And is that like a new and exciting thing for people? The Banshees narrative, it's a little bit of a movie for our times, like in a way, but it's really just like a well-written, well-acted, well-done film. Everything Everywhere has a better narrative in terms of being, I think, kind of the cinema of the future. I don't know if other people have that on their minds, but something that feels very forward-thinking stylistically. The representation's there.
The mother-daughter story that people are genuinely connecting with about family. There's lots of universal themes, like the existential dread.
That's also very our times, like the nihilism.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that's where the movie relates with younger people more. Like, it really strikes a chord. But there's still something for everybody, I think. There's something there.
It's important that these top 3 all have director and screenplay at the Golden Globes. That's usually a stat that matters. Outside of like Coda last year, it usually matters. Do you think anything else here could win Best Picture? Because I was saying I think Top Gun and Avatar could win Globe Drama or PGA. Ultimately, them not being strong contenders in acting and screenplay categories, I think, would be their biggest roadblock to winning Best Picture.
I genuinely think Banshees, Fabelmans, and Top Gun could all possibly win Best Picture. Like, there's a path for all those. I'm not going to say Avatar's possible. I don't think Tar is it. Elvis and Babylon are too much, like, on the block. Like, not everyone loves them. Women Talking is like the only film that's kind of getting destroyed. And, like, not destroyed. Like, it's got the big nominations, but it's not doing as well as it needs to do. Like, there's no way that's going to win at this point.
We have to acknowledge that Elvis is, like, firmly in the Best Picture race, because this is the first video where that's in our top 10.
Yeah, just as we acknowledge that maybe we get a little bit of bragging for Everything Everywhere All at Once, now, like, moving up in people's lists, we also took a long-ass time to put Elvis in.
Yeah, we have to hang our heads
So we take the L on that one.
Because Elvis was...
Because a lot of people were saying it. A lot of people were saying
it for the whole year.
And we were like, hell no.
Basically, it just made people happy and feel good, and it's been doing well with critics groups.
I think the thing was we didn't acknowledge how many nominations that thing could actually get. And then when people were like, oh no, Austin Butler, actually he's getting nominated because look at the acting field right now. And it's not going away, and people actually really like Elvis. I think we should have taken into account how many people love the movie. Because if everyone was like, they just like and not love, that would be one thing, but people fucking love it. You don't have to look that hard for people to be like, ah, man, I just like that movie a lot, yeah. And also to say like, okay, makeup, costumes, actors seem pretty locked in. And then to be like, yeah, not Best Picture. That was an L. That was not correct. That was like a bare minimum package that actually looks pretty fucking good.
And now it's getting a lot more than that. I'll tell you that. It's getting a lot more.
So I guess when you're a musical biopic and you have like an actor on lock, you should watch out for the movie and Best Picture, I guess.
And it was also Baz Luhrmann too. Like there was a respectable director behind it, and it made money. One thing I just like about this lineup potentially is we have 3 or 4 movies that came out before fall festivals even happened, and they just built steam like by releasing and getting popular, and they built steam better than all these other goddamn movies released at the same exact date in November, and then those movies go on to make no money. I would love to see a future where, you know, an awards film can come out at any time of the year, and in fact maybe even benefit from having a couple months to itself earlier in the year.
Well, I don't think you have to look for that future. I think it's always been that way, and people just kind of refuse to accept that that's actually like a good strategy, even when it's unintentional, that it works out. If you release a film at a time when it can make a lot of money, and it has time to like resonate with people, as long as it finds people, like they're not going to shut up about it just because the year is sort of long. There are some examples though where like we have been kind of burned by films coming out early on, and it feels like they just fade away, and it feels like it's because it's early on. Like The Farewell, I remember that was like a big indie hit. You know, Rocket Man happened too. That had the same exact release date pretty much as Elvis, and the same release strategy. And that did not get, that got 1 fucking song nomination.
Yeah, but we also,
so this shit happens.
It also feels like we don't live in a world anymore where a drama Oscar bait movie can come out around Thanksgiving and make a lot of money. Like, I don't know if we live in that world anymore.
Exactly. And the thing is that we live in a world where there's a downside. There's a clear downside to coming out, being a part of that flood of like festival films. There are only so many that can really rise from that and truly shine. There's just not enough room for people to like digest all of that at once.
And I'm scared
and it hasn't worked out box office wise for a lot of these, even though they're doing well awards wise, like The Fabelmans or Tar, sort of.
Babylon, some people were thinking, okay, the reactions are going to be mixed. This movie could tank. It could be like First Man all over again. People were panicking.
Well, it hasn't done box office yet.
It doesn't matter.
It could still tank further.
But here's the thing. Because it already got those Golden Globe nominations and got those 11 Critics' Choice nominations, like, I feel like it doesn't matter.
There's a strategy
The
there,
reviews, the embargo released like at midnight or like 3 a.m. when people weren't paying attention. Like, they were trying to hide them, but they did the right thing. They got the movie out to the voters who mattered. And then they established it as an awards contender. And now it doesn't really matter as much what the reviews are, what the box office will be. Although, you know, it could feel like a burn when when it comes out and it doesn't do well.
But if it truly fucking bombs, then I have to consider whether that's like out. Babylon's looking actually pretty good. Like, it wouldn't get in a year or 5. Definitely not. Babylon could quite possibly fall, just as the original city did.
It'd be weird, though.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Because it has so many texts going for it. Like, the fact that Brad Pitt got into the Globes, too, like...
It could comfortably take the hit of screenplay and director, and it could still get a bunch of nominations, so...
Women Talking, it performed like shit at the Globes, let's just be honest. It missed picture and director. It didn't get a single acting nomination. That movie was going for a max of 6 nominations, and it got a very measly 2. But making it into screenplay in the lineup of 5... I still think it's strong to win adapted screenplay.
I still think it's going to win screenplay.
And, you know, that makes it pretty likely to be nominated in Best Picture. Jessie Buckley got in at Critics' Choice. The whole Jessie Buckley, Claire Foy, that is destroyed. They are not getting nominated, both of them. Honestly, it might be Jessie Buckley or bust.
Ben Whishaw has gotten hit really hard. Like, he didn't get Critics' Choice, did he?
Yeah.
That's bad.
He doesn't have to come along with the movie because it is
I feel like he does,
women talking. I want him to come along with the movie. And I want Sarah Polley to come along with the movie, but is that happening? That seems much less likely now. So Women Talking, I feel like, is almost in danger. I think it'll get in because there are 10 nominees. But if there weren't 10 nominees, I'd be a little scared. And then RRR.
Yeah.
This movie...
We've been holding our breath on this one, like, waiting to talk about it, because I've been hoping that this would slowly rise somehow. In a miracle of a manner similar to Drive My Car. This just hasn't happened. It's unprecedented that a film like RRR gets into Best Picture at the Academy Awards, but also it's unprecedented that a film like RRR has not hit the United States ever. I don't think we've ever been as obsessed with a film from India like this, and like a blockbusting film from India.
The Oscars don't even embrace India in the international category very often at all.
And usually the international films they do embrace are like Drive My Car or Amour, and this is completely fucking different. This has not like those in any single way.
And yet, what's happening with it? Well, it got in the Critics' Choice 10 for picture and director. Well, 11 for picture. So it was the runner-up at LA Film Critics, and it won New York Film Critics in director.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the groups that were like going for Drive My Car. Most critics groups are embracing this movie at least somewhat outside of just international and song.
And it's not necessarily like a critics movie. That's the interesting thing about it. It's such a populist film that like critics could or couldn't not go for it, but they've actually decided like to give it some mentions.
I think it really just goes to show, like, if you're a sensation of a movie, then you can't be discounted for Oscars at all. RRR still has room to falter. Like, it's not really strong in that many categories. Right now we have it in a few. You know, maybe director goes along with it. The fact that I can see director going along with it, though,
that's really
is big, because
it would kind of need a director nomination.
And it also doesn't fit the international director kind of movie that they like to nominate. It's a different kind of movie, but it is still maybe going to fill that slot this year.
RRR getting the Critics' Choice nomination for director and picture and visual effects, also important, was really big to me.
And Drive My Car didn't
really
do any of
big.
that.
It feels like it's building momentum. That's why I have it in my top 10, because
I think
it feels like it's only growing, and it's just populating more and more minds, and it will populate more and more ballots, so that I think the timing is going to be really good for it to get the Academy Award nomination for Best Picture.
And I think it has broad appeal. I think a lot of people would be like, oh my god, people are going to vote for RRR for Best Picture. I'll get in on that.
Like me too, I would throw in I vote for it on a ballot.
Could it get PGA? I do wonder. I also wonder how it would do at BAFTA. Maybe they'll nominate in a couple techs. I don't know if they might go for it in director.
If they do visual effects and director, I'm sold on the Oscars nominating it in director and picture. Like,
I also want to see guilds going for it. Like, it is probably going to be in the period category, so that's a little tough. But like, if it gets a couple things like production design or costumes or something, Visual Effects Society, stunts at SAG, like little things like that would just show that the movie is being taken seriously.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's not even getting a fucking nomination for International Feature at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
It's also winning more international awards than any other film.
Yeah.
Decision to Leave is nowhere to be seen.
Well, that recently started catching up a little bit.
This is the international film that's getting the most accolades. It's probably going to win the Golden Globe. It'll definitely win the Critics' Choice. So I think this is a big deal.
And this would make for the 4th action movie in our lineup.
You know, you were saying something interesting to me, that when the festivals were around the corner, it looked like the slate at Fall Festival was going to dominate the award season.
Around festival time, we're always overestimating how many festival movies are going to get in. This year, I was like, damn,
exactly.
This year looks really festival stacked. I had 7 festival movies in my Best Picture lineup at one point. And our lineup right now has 4. But, you know, 5 could easily happen.
Yeah, because Glass Onion is on the cusp, and so is Woman King. It's just an interesting thing to keep in mind that whenever people say, oh, well, like, it'll get buried underneath the juggernaut stack of films. And, you know, this year, Elvis prevailed. We should do, like, an in memoriam for the films that are about to get, like, no or 1 nomination, you know? Rest in peace, The Sun. Rest in peace, Empire of Light.
Outside of 10, Glass Onion is probably what most people have in their Best Picture 10. Glass Onion got Critics' Choice when Knives Out didn't. It also supported that nomination with Janelle Monáe and costumes. Screenplay is on lock. Golden Globes, it only got a couple. It's ambiguous. I think this could get PGA, but I think the Oscars could gatekeep it as a sequel to a movie that they didn't even nominate in the first place. That is, you know, on par with the original. It's just a plain fun movie. There's nothing really like important about voting for it.
It's satire, though.
It's easy to see it as like a good piece of like Netflix content, like a really, you know, quality piece of Netflix content. But Netflix is pushing it super hard, and Pinocchio looks kind of done.
Like Dinners with Janelle Monáe hard.
Janelle Monáe is very possible. If the movie gets in Best Picture, Janelle Monáe will come along with it.
I think that they're being smart with that. They know that they're riding her. There's no world where it gets in and she doesn't. There's still a world where she gets in and it doesn't, though. That's what I think. My observation at the festivals was that the movie's a little bit of a sugar high. Like, you're really high on it after you see it. It's a lot of fun, but it doesn't quite have, like, staying power.
But it getting Critics' Choice when Knives Out didn't is the best argument I could give so far.
Oh, no, Janelle Monáe getting in is the best argument that you can give.
But it also didn't get AFI when Knives Out did. So it's performing a little bit differently. And I think
also want to see how well it does at the guilds. Like, especially, it has to get SAG.
It'll probably get SAG.
And it probably will. I think it will also do well at the guilds with, like, costume designers and art directors. They have slots waiting for that film. So it's actually going to look really good after all the guilds and stuff. And it's getting screenplay everywhere, which is great.
I could see Glass Onion winning WGA. Woman King didn't do so well at the Critics' Choice. It only got costumes and the director in 10, which doesn't make me care that much.
10, yeah.
In 10. It couldn't get, like, over-nominated in text, nor could it get picture. It did get AFI. She said also got AFI, but she said had a similar fate. The Critics' Choice didn't really care that much about it. They didn't even nominate Carey Mulligan. So
yeah, that was big.
Those two, and I thought that the Critics' Choice would actually like She Said. You know, they always seemed like, is the passion there? Like, it's fucking close, but I don't know if they're going to make it in. I have those, like, on the outside. I don't quite think they're happening.
Woman King's riding Viola Davis, absolutely. That's the biggest nomination that I think it could get outside of Best Picture. I'm not so sure she'll make it in because we have a really tight actress race.
I'm not going to call The Whale done yet. The Whale so far has been doing really well in limited release. Really good per theater averages right now.
Yeah.
I think it will look a little weaker once it expands, but like in the case that The Whale actually does do really well and people legitimately are coming out to the theaters for Brendan Fraser's comeback, you know, The Whale still is kind of holding on to a screenplay nomination. Even with these critics groups, it's still in the top 5. Brendan Fraser's firmly in there. I think he's looking less good to win, but still kind of in it to win it. Hong Chow would come along with The Whale if it were in Best Picture, and you have makeup. So,
but she hasn't been going along with The Whale thus far. Critics with Golden Globes or Critics' Choice.
We'll get to that. Critics groups like her though, so
yeah.
But she hasn't
still happen. Maybe.
I'm saying that if The Whale got in Best Picture, she would rebound. If The Whale rebounds, I'd be looking for PGA, and there are a lot of bigger movies that they seem like they would go for.
I honestly wouldn't be looking for PGA if The Whale rebounded. I still don't think
so. It would just get in off of nothing.
Yeah, it could overperform slightly with like Hong Chow at the BAFTAs, and then it might get in. They've been dragging their feet on The Whale. Well, I think they've been dragging their feet.
I'm not sure about that. Like, I'm not surprised critics groups aren't biting that hard, but it has gotten a couple picture nominations at critics groups. Like, that's what I mean. The Whale still has some support, and for all the people who think that like it's too much of a downer or it's too sad, like I actually think audiences will like that because they just want a movie to make them cry.
I was thinking The Whale's got to be in still because Brendan Fraser, how is he going to lose? I don't even have him at number 1 anymore, unfortunately, because of what has happened to The Whale, and I guess we'll get to that in the Best Actor category.
I will say he's won more awards than Butler so far.
Oh, he has?
That's all I'm going to say.
I think it could still maybe happen. Phantom Thread happened with nothing because it came out really late, and then people realized that people really liked it. But The Whale's weird because audiences seem to like it a lot. Critics are absolutely mixed on it. And it's also getting a lot of shit on Twitter.
You think anything else is a shot here? Triangle of Sadness not looking the best?
No,
I mean, it did get the Golden Globe turnout was good. Supporting actress and picture,
it was good. Well, yeah, with supporting actress, but the Critics' Choice not going for it in screenplay was really that was kind of a hit to me.
Yeah, I would need to see that get in BAFTA for screenplay if I want to predict it there.
I need to see it get some other stuff. I mean, Dahlia DeLeon would be really nice to go along with it, and I think she could get the BAFTA. But I also would like to see BAFTA screenplay if I'm going to predict it in anything else.
Living is going for actor and screenplay nominations, which makes me think a little bit but no one's been doing that. No one's been taking that leap yet.
I don't think it's that good of a movie.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it's going to happen.
After Sun, you know, as I feared, like, even though critics are like, you know, this is the best movie of the year, then they get in their little critics groups and they're just like, after what? After who? And they just don't like give a shit, even though it's amazing. And they're not nominating it in director. They're not nominating in picture. They're kind of nominating Paul Mescal, and they're a little bit doing screenplay.
And the Critics' Choice nominated screenplay and Paul Mescal, which both of them I did not expect.
Those couple nominations was interesting.
And yet they didn't go for it in director or picture.
Which I don't.
And director was 10.
I don't understand. The movie's not seen as an awards contender enough, so they just don't care.
Is there a path for it, though? Like, what if the BAFTAs nominated it for... I think the BAFTAs were nominated for actor, director, possibly screenplay.
Possibly actress.
Yeah.
And debut film, British film.
I still think it wouldn't get best film, though. I still think
Oh, no, it wouldn't get best film out of 5. No way. The movie could get like 5 BAFTA nominations. And when that happens, people will be like, oh my God, what's happening? But it's like, yeah, but that was kind of the jury and it being a British independent film. There's a world, but it's not looking too likely.
Yeah.
Pinocchio. You know, we had this, I've had this at 10 last time. This is not taking off for people. Today, I tallied Pinocchio for the first time in my Best Picture critics tally, and I went, oh my God, nobody nominated it except for this one critics group.
When I watched the film, I really liked it, and I thought that could get not just animated feature, it'll get score. I thought production design, Best Picture and adapted screenplay, just on my viewing, were like, okay, I would consider that for sure. I would be voting in those categories for Pinocchio, but it just hasn't caught on. Yeah. It just hasn't.
And Decision to Leave at 19, that is, you know, again, RRR is stealing the steam as the big international contender.
Yeah.
Decision to Leave, you know, the early signs were really not having a 90 on Metacritic, not breaking 4.0 on Letterboxd. It wasn't quite like Drive My Car, Roma levels that's needed to get into Best Picture.
No. Again, I think you need to be like the director's best film in order to get that kind of recognition. And Decision to Leave, you know, some people might think that, but it's not like unanimously the director's best film.
I wish it was in Best Picture. Those are our predictions for Best Picture. Stay tuned for other Oscar predictions coming soon. If you like this video, and if you like the channel as a whole,
and if you like him as a person,
you can go to our Patreon and give a few bucks a month, and it gets you bonus content too. So it's a great deal for you. It's a great deal for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
You gonna put RRR in your top 10?